Hi. All right, I think I'm recording. So this is my simulations. I just want to go over the different ones we were supposed to complete. I was a little zealous and did complete all of the matching and all of the drag and drop. But for the simulation ones, I did make sure to only complete the ones that were needed. So you'll see that some are not started, but I did complete the 15 or so ones that were needed in this exercise. I definitely have to say that this was much harder than I expected, especially not having the book. But what was good was that the instructions were very clear. I think I did struggle the most with the matching. Let me go to grade history for matching. This one we did go over during the class, and after a few tries, I did get them right. However, the think about it's were really hard. It was helpful when we did have that session with you to go over these. Identifying troubleshooting. This was actually pretty easy after I started doing some of the simulation. I kind of jumped around the different labs. Security terminology and descriptions. This one, not the best. I didn't really research the answers as much as I should have. I was really kind of going over what I know already, which was not a lot. Definitely having these definitions will help for our future reference. Types of network. Let's see. Types of networks and attacks. Also, I kind of went through knowledge of what I knew, which was better than the other lab, but this one kind of similar. I didn't really Google it, but kind of things like malware, things I really hear recently in the news. Kind of Trojan horse, it really sounds like the name. Virus, phishing. Security appliance. This I tried. This one definitely not as good as I wish I did. I could have taken it again, but I think I was really getting crunched on time, especially knowing that I had to, or I thought I needed to do all of them. Those were the matching. Drag and drop. This one I think was a little easier. Identify common Cat5 wiring problems. This one I kind of just thought of it as honestly, it was a guess. I still don't really fully understand what this means. So it's good that I have these answers here, and I can definitely look back and see really what I should have taken away from this. Network topologies. This one, I actually enjoyed this one. We actually use kind of these diagrams a lot at work, and I'm more familiar with these. Point-to-point makes sense. Hierarchy, I kind of understood. Hubs and spokes, it kind of looks like what it is. It's interesting to learn that a full mesh kind of is the star shape. And I'm just kind of looking at my syllabus to go over the ones we should, the ones we were required to do. These next ones I actually just completed last, just now. I honestly looked at the figures and really figured it out. I think without looking at it, I really wasn't sure how to do this. But I did get these correct. But I had the most kind of trouble, and I'm still kind of trying to understand what it means. I think this last one was interesting because it was kind of their exact opposites of each other. So it's almost a mirror image of each different connection. And then lastly, the simulation I actually enjoyed the most. There's a lot to go through, but actually all these simulations are the ones that were required. So the first few ones were easy. The step-by-step instructions I really enjoyed. Let's see. Configuring the IP address we talked about, and it actually helped learning about the different subnets. Now let me just scroll and show everything. I don't know if there were additional questions that you needed. Again, I really enjoyed the simulations just because the step-by-step was really helpful. I think it was more towards one of them where it kind of took all the concepts we've learned prior and put it together. I hope that this is kind of what you want to see. Me kind of just going through. I did thankfully pass all of them. Actually, first try too with these. I definitely have never worked in the kind of command boxes before, so it was interesting how you can really use ipconfig, ping. I actually find that really helpful to use in the future. This one using the ping command. Looking at the different replies back. So I like that we did mention this during our live session that typically connecting to a router does go through the 192.168.1.1. And when I actually typed in this answer, when it asked for the last address, the above.net is what owns it. So they actually were looking for just the IP address itself. Let's see. I found these to be pretty easy. I do recall doing this when I first got my router years ago. Not the one I'm using today, but one of the past ones. And I found that pretty easy to do. This one I think asks about why the WPA2 versus a regular WPA. It's kind of different. The WPA2 uses the AES, while the regular WPA personal uses a different type of encryption. Troubleshooting. I was actually really surprised I got that right. It was definitely a lot of reading through the different steps. And then going into this command, pinging the router and seeing that it was timed out. Learning the different commands with the NS lookup. I got a little confused when it asked for kind of that A plus A's, but I think I kind of went back in and figured out where my mistake was. Oh, there were a lot here. The troubleshooting, SIM. It was actually really interesting that I was able to get to it. And I realized that I wasn't at first because of the DNS. There was no DNS address or server. And then I was able to get to it because it was just the IP address itself. And because I flushed the DNS cache, that kind of wiped out the memory. That's why if I didn't, I probably still would have been able to access it because of the storage and remembering that address. But because now I understand flushing out means really clearing the cache, that's why I wasn't able to do it. And configuring the device. Oh, this was interesting. It kind of gave us the steps to first do the VLAN 1, and then we had to really go back ourselves and kind of follow the similar steps for VLAN 2. And I actually did do that. Well, I wasn't really sure why it was similar to configuring a PC to a network. And then the interfaces. And trace cert. Let's see, this one. I think this one I couldn't really talk too much about. It was definitely a bit difficult. Again, I ended up not buying the book for this, so it was a lot of kind of guessing, following along. I did enjoy doing the network users. We actually have an Active Directory. That's something that Boston Children's actually does. All users need to be in what's called an Active Directory. This goes back to kind of the discussion with how we use databases. So kind of PeopleSoft, which I talked about this week, they're the ones that actually first put the users even in the system, and then it kind of goes down through this Active Directory. And I don't know if people manually do this, but we have an Active Directory where this is where we actually grant all the access to the different applications. Here, VPN. That I saw your comment. That was actually really interesting that you could actually do a VPN to your own network. And that was all the labs. Let me go back to just show that they were all completed. Yeah, all my matching, you'll see everything was completed, and then simulation. It was definitely an interesting exercise. I think this is actually really pretty cool lab simulator. My favorites were definitely the simulation, and I feel like I'll definitely reference this again, and even ping websites, and it's interesting to kind of see on the back end the IP addresses and how it masks itself to kind of go back and forth. It was definitely a hard assignment, but I definitely feel like I've learned a lot. And this, I hope, yeah, concludes kind of my evaluation on this. And I am actually using the Zoom to share. Hopefully everything recorded and you can hear me clearly. And I will now post this on YouTube and post this link on Blackboard. Thanks. If I can learn how to. Do I just stop share? Recording. Maybe stop. Oh, I'm still recording. Okay, let me turn this off.